Oh, I'm late. I'm very, very late, but I made it finally to this video. This has been highly requested. A topic on the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party, and that is the topic for today. You will find the start time for this video down in the description once I have had a chance to put it in there, that is. Of course, the video will go unlisted, so unless you access it through your notifications or you are a patron, then you won't be able to actually watch the video. You'll have to wait for me to actually put together the edited version. That's usually how I do it. Now, if you haven't been part of my live streams before, normally what I do is I present absolutely everything first and then I open it up for questions and answers, which is exactly the same format that I plan to follow for today. Ha ha! How's it going, Scott? What have got here? Big kids here. Nice, nice. Now, you might have noticed on my channel I did a poll on this topic a little while back. I have taken some of that information and I have added a few other things in there that I thought were suitable, which is why it took me so long to actually start the stream, because there was a lot of negotiations taking place about who was going to be going where. Hi, so how's it going, Sam? Sam Tom Miller. All right, okay. Let's get a face going. Let's see if YouTube can actually cope with my face. I don't believe that it necessarily can, but you never know. Sometimes it can cope, and sometimes it just looks at me and says, "No, it's just gonna lag and be difficult." Who knows? Who knows? So you'll let me know if it's laggy or there's problems with the sound right now. So that's what you've got to do with your fingers. Use your fingers and type in, is it laggy? Can you see me? Am I moving around funny? Is there bad things? Aaron, we are doing the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party. Hi, Brian. How's it going, Brian? It's a bit jumpy, Aaron. Good. I will save my face for the end. So make sure you have your questions and your feedback at the end. Let's get rid of my face, because if we get rid of my face, that'll certainly solve a lot of problems, I suspect. We'll go back to where we were before. I'll do it this way. That way it'll solve a lot of problems. Sound's coming through good, so that's the main thing, right? Okay, so I'm going to pop out these earplugs because I can hear myself, and it's actually really distracting. I'm not really going to find that helpful in the slightest. All right, let us start. Get yourself some popcorn, and let's see if I can do this. Yes, don't worry, the video will be undercover. Well, I'm not undercover. It'll be fixed. It'll be fixed. Here we go. Let us start. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about, as it happens, Chuck Norris. No, well, actually, I want to talk about Chuck Norris, but I run a channel on Dungeons and Dragons, so that's not the topic for today. As it happens, we are talking about the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party of all time. Who is it? Who are they? Where are they? Essentially, that's the topic for today. This is a topic that has hardly been seen on YouTube. You almost never see a topic like this on YouTube ever. So what is the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party for the game? Now, I've put up the Wizard of Oz. The only problem with the Wizard of Oz is that really Dorothy does all the heavy lifting. I don't think that anybody else is doing any heavy lifting, but Dorothy is definitely doing most of the heavy lifting in this case. And as a result of that, I would say problematic. I think the rest are just cute, but Dorothy's good. Okay, next one. What about the Robin Hood and his merry men? Only problem is with this one, I was thinking, well, hang on, is this a fictional Dungeons and Dragons-y kind of group? Or are they actually real and based off mythology and legends that might actually be based in reality? And I was really struggling with this one. In the end, I decided that this particular group is actually completely unbalanced, although I suppose you could consider Friar Tuck a cleric of some kind, but in this case I decided not really. So I've taken Robin Hood and his merry men off the list. So let's go to the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon party. In fact, I'm wondering, did I not put this particular group on the absolute worst Dungeons and Dragons party of all time? I think I might have done that. Maybe I've got my stuff mixed up. The only problem too with the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon party is, did they ever get home? I don't think they did. Did they ever defeat Tiamat or Venger? I don't think that ever happened either. So problematic, and I'm going to say, not really. We'll leave that one alone, shall we? Okay, now here is where it starts to get really, really tricky. I was very tempted to put up the Fellowship of the Ring, and then I decided, no, just give me a break. That's like too dysfunctional. What about this selection of individuals? The Avengers. That's just way too easy and panders to the current world craze. So I've decided to leave all of those individuals off my list for the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party. I've decided to instead select individuals who I think stand out amongst the rest and would be formed into one of probably the best Dungeons and Dragons groups of all time. So here it is. Now, this list is going to consist of, let's say, I'm going to stick to fictional characters who I feel that the Dungeon Master would not ban from their game in some way. If they are bannable, problematic, can't really play them, so we'll leave that stuff alone. So we're not going to go OP if we can help it. I'm going to stick to 6 awesome characters, only 6. Now, the list that I'm giving is not necessarily in the order of importance. That was a stipulation that I was given when I was making this video, that I could not put them into a specific order as if they are the absolute best, kind of. Anyway, the first one I will talk about is Batman. Well, it's got to be Batman because it's Batman. It's Batman. He's smarter than a whip. Let's get real. He is. He's smarter than a whip. He has unlimited resources, unless, of course, he's in a Nolan movie. Then he may not have unlimited resources, particularly near the end of his career. He has, like, super awesome, very, very cool toys, cars, planes, and various other items that you just sort of think, oh, it's hard not to salivate when you think about all the stuff that he has available. He works well in a group, surprisingly, but also works well alone. So you don't have to worry about him going and splitting from the party and then getting himself killed, because the chances are that's not really going to happen. And he probably won't need saving either. So, good to have around. Able to defeat Superman. Able to defeat Superman. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. And just don't say the word Martha. Next on our list of the most impressive individuals for a Dungeons and Dragons group has got to be Dorothy Gale. Cute and lovely. Can make friends with literally anything and anyone, just about. Killed 2 witches with mundane buildings and water. Can in fact turn dirty water into a bucket of acid. So let's get real. When the first witch was destroyed, chances are it was just dumb luck. The house fell on top of her. But let's get real. The second time round, I can't imagine that a witch leaves a bucket of acid lying around so that somebody could pick it up and throw it at somebody else. So I don't think that's likely. I think that was just a bucket of dirty water, and by sheer will, Dorothy turned that bucket of dirty water into acid that disintegrated or melted down the witch. So this is the sort of individual who you play as a one-shot evil killer that nobody ever expects. Who would have ever expected that a little girl could just walk up with a little dog and a basket and then find something around the house and you're all over? But she can, as it happens. Okay, number 3 is Captain America. Well, it's got to be Captain America. Somewhere there had to be Captain America. The ultimate soldier. A fantastic leader that reduces foul language and swearing and improves manners within a group, which is always a good thing. Keeps ticking, even when he's hurt. And his super healing is so good that it doesn't actually remove the blood. So even though he's still going and his super healing is working really fast, the blood is not removed. So it feels far more realistic compared to some of the other things we've seen before. He can fight off some of the toughest individuals in the galaxy or universe. Thanos, That's right, he's tackled Thanos before. He has impressive shield throwing and bashing techniques and skills never before seen or achieved by anybody else. And if somebody says they can, I think they are just lying. A great team support. The sort of person that when you get into a hard time, you can have a bit of a cry on his shoulder and he'll totally understand. Number 4, Mary Poppins. Everybody loves Mary Poppins. Just needs a spoonful of sugar for the medicine to go down, and you're never going to get sick or injured again because she just doesn't allow that to happen. Now, is that from sheer will, or is that from some sort of strange and undefined magic we do not know? She's got a bag that holds literally everything. Now, when you start thinking about bags of holding, her bag's much larger than that, because I don't think there's actually a limit to how much she can stick in that thing, or even a limit to the size of the thing that can come out of the bag itself. So, far more useful than any bag of holding you might ever come across. Magic that brings the family together. And let's get real, a Dungeons and Dragons party is just another family. Can shift the very fabric of time and the world around. And how does she do that? With magic. And a single word that, for the life of me, I'm not sure I can even say it. You know the word, the expediliousy thing. Yeah, that word. If you can get that thing to come out of your mouth, well done. But she uses that well, and she can do pretty much anything. Okay, number 5 has got to be Hermione Granger. What can't she ever remember in terms of magic, lore, or information history? What information can she not find if she can't remember it? What spell is there that she has never actually been able to cast? She can cast any spell. And let's get real, when they made the Harry Potter movie series, really, should have been called her movie series. It should have been Hermione Granger and the Chamber of Secrets, followed by a lot of Harry Potter names removed, because honestly, the real hero in the whole franchise was Hermione Granger. She's battled monsters and wizards. She's figured out just about everything that the boys got lost on, which was most of the stuff that they ever came across to begin with and at the end. Number 6. Now, I couldn't leave him off. He's been one of my favourites for years, and that is MacGyver. The nicest guy you could possibly ever meet. Smarter than his actor. Able to use a paperclip, duct tape to fix absolutely anything and everything. Everybody actually survives when they are with him, which is always nice. Able to create and notice traps with ease. So if you want to create a trap, he's the guy for you. You want to be able to detect a trap and disable it, he can do that. Can build literally anything with household items and stuff. And that's the sort of thing you want on your party if you are playing Dungeons and Dragons. So that is my ultimate list. Well, actually it's not. There is in fact one other individual that I have to add to this list. I know I said I was going to have 6, but number 7 is Chuck Norris. Now, I did explain to Chuck Norris that he was not a fictional character, that he was OP and overpowered, that in fact he couldn't be on this list. He then explained to me that if there is a list of any individuals that has the word absolute best, or there is a list that he decides he should be on, through the very nature of the fabric of time that he has actually created and the universe, he should be on that list. I did try to explain, spent a lot of time explaining that wasn't actually the case, and I couldn't do that. In the end, we had a very short aggressive negotiations, and he's on the list, and you have no idea how long it took me to explain to him that being at the end of a list is not a bad thing. In fact, that the best individual within a group should always be stated last, because he really wanted to go into the Batman slot and be discussed first. But we got through it, which is good news. Now, some honourable mentions that did not make the list, and that is Superman. Let's get real. what Dungeon Master is going to allow Superman at the table, and he's OP, and has there ever really been any need for Superman to have anybody help him? Honestly, I don't think he needs party members with him, so I've left him off the list. What about Aragon? Aragon. Well, the problem with Aragon is that he's done plenty of things. He's certainly more capable than anybody else in his franchise, but unfortunately I've left him off the list because he was not able to rectify some of the leadership issues that occurred within the Fellowship of the Ring. The Fellowship fell apart pretty quickly, and let's get real, he did not help that situation in the slightest. So he's not on the list. What about Alice in Wonderland? Now, she killed the Jabberwocky. She pretty much brought the Red Queen down. She has been able to achieve many different things. She survived falling down a rabbit hole, but I left her off the list because recently she fell down a badger hole, and we haven't seen her since. And so we figure at this point she's gone on a bad trip, and I've taken her off the list in this case. There are, of course, a lot of individuals or friends that she has still engaged in rehab as well. Okay, Conan. Here's the problem with Conan. He's atypical, he's tough, he's strong, but really he doesn't need anybody else to achieve anything. He certainly survived just about the most appalling things you can possibly imagine, but I didn't really feel like he was a team member, and he certainly felt like he was like a OP, because has there really ever been anything that Conan needed help with? There really never was anything whatsoever, so I've left Conan off the list here for today. Okay, what about Doctor Strange? Doctor Strange OP, because let's get real, when things go bad, he's just going to turn back time and win the day. So I don't think any Dungeon Master is going to allow that, even though, of course, he is the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange. What about Ellen Ripley? Now, here's the thing. She's one badass, but kills aliens and monsters with no trouble. But has there ever been anybody who ever survived with her? I don't think there has. She has certainly survived, but none of her party members ever seem to survive past the first movie. They never seem to make it to the next one, if you ask me. All right, what about Neo from the Matrix? Again, the problem with Neo from the Matrix is that he is OP, he can fly, he can do pretty much everything. And yes, I've left him off the list. I am a fan of Neo from the Matrix, but he could not be on this list. It would not have been acceptable, I think. Now, I know a lot of people want me to add Robin Hood to this list, but again, the problem is I didn't feel like that Robin Hood was, strictly speaking, a fictional character, and may well, in fact, be a real individual that has just been spoken about and turned into movies and books and so forth. So I felt like that was moving outside of the parameters. It would be like me putting Jesus Christ on the list as one of the greatest Dungeons and Dragons, or best Dungeons and Dragons members to have in your game. So I can't be doing that sort of thing. That would be ridiculous. What about Wonder Woman? Who doesn't like Wonder Woman? She's good, she's strong, she's got a good heart, all those things, all the sorts of things you like. She does work well in a group. The only problem is that she doesn't really need the group. She can really pretty much do, just like Superman, pretty much deal with everything without too much trouble whatsoever. Okay, what about Indiana Jones? Indiana Jones. Well, here's the thing with Indiana Jones. He's an archaeologist. He is the greatest Tomb Raider there is. He's smart. He's strong. He's capable. He survived everything. But really, he's more of a loner. I don't feel like he's the sort of individual that really needs anybody else. He gets through most things without any trouble whatsoever. So didn't really feel like he was a team player. Last on my mentioned list, and that is Yoda. Now, Yoda, of course, infinite knowledge. Just amazing recall. One with the Force. One of the greatest Jedis ever. The only problem is that when Yoda shows up, I feel like this is the Dungeon Master deciding to create a PC for themselves to play with the other players, and it will just get really annoying as Yoda tells you what you should be doing in a cryptic and annoying way, removing all of the linking words, which, to be fair, are required to make things a little bit easier to understand. So that is my absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party that I thought was the best individuals that filled what was required from a Dungeons and Dragons group. Now I have hundreds of videos for players and dungeon masters providing advice, tips, tricks and so forth that you're welcome to go and check out. If you want to support the channel so I keep doing videos like this, then make sure to join either Patreon, where you can support me there, get access to all of the live streams that go unlisted and special content and priority on the videos that I make. I also have affiliate links to the book depository and Amazon down in the description where you can buy stuff online and I get a small commission. I have a merchandise shelf below if you're interested in buying some merchandise. And keep rolling those 20s because that's what you should be doing when you're watching my channel. I'm not gone. But my office is falling apart, so give me a second. It's the heat of the day. My gosh. All right. Okay, stick this in here. Okay, stay. Right. All right, I'm going to bring my face in because, well, got to see me at some point, right? It might be a bit choppy, tippy. You know, one of those things might be a bit choppy, tippy. If it is a bit choppy, tippy, then I do apologize. I'm just going to put it down to YouTube is struggling to keep their stuff together. I don't know why that is, but apparently they do struggle sometimes. All right, let us grab my glasses and have a discussion about some of these individuals, because let's get real. I'm one of those. Now I know there's going to be a few comments. There'll be a few individuals that people feel should have been on the list, and then that might well be a problem for later on. But let's get there. You can tell me who you think should have been on the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party group, because this is why we have the live chat at the end, so we can discuss these important topics. Okay, so Scott. Scott. Okay, so Scott, if you hadn't figured it out, this was actually a fun messing around video. I wasn't actually serious when you started saying things about Paladin and Invoker Wizard and Life Cleric and the Thief Rogue. I honestly, that's not really what I was intending to talk about at all. This was just an opportunity for me to let off a bit of steam. Occasionally I have plenty of things I should be talking about, but I just needed to let off steam, and these help me let off a bit of steam. What do we got here? Big Kid. My family group is Evoker Wizard, a Life Cleric, Champion, Moon Druid, Thief, Assassin, Ranger, Law Bard. Ooh, okay, well-rounded. Ranger tanks. Well, you know, Rangers can do quite a lot of different things. Still a half-caster. Okay, so now that people understand what we're talking about here, remember, fictional characters who would make great individuals in a Dungeons and Dragons group. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're after. Just sit back and shoots arrows. Well, okay. Yes, we are off. Okay, so let's scoot on down here into the chat. Aaron's here, Brian's here. Sound is good. Yep, we'll cover that. F Hubba. Include a mage necromancer school with a portable hole full of zombies to send ahead of the party to trigger all the traps. Well, I suppose you could do that. Yes, I mean, if you feel that's going to be a useful tactic, maybe it's a topic that needs to be turned into a video at some point. There was an end of campaign story written. Never made it into an episode of the old D&D cartoon series. Ah, right. There may well have been an end. I don't know what that is. Oh, actually, I do know what it is. I do actually have an idea of what happened to the Dungeons and Dragons party ultimately. Scott, that is correct, Fred Hubber. I have the collector's box set. They defeated Venger, if I remember right. Ah, right, yes. Well, that's good. They defeated Venger. That's good news. I'm so happy. Yes, that's right. Don't forget Dorothy's magic slippers. She's got red ruby slippers and they can do a lot. I did forget them, unfortunately, Scott, but you are right. Those red ruby slippers are like they're one of the most powerful things. It makes her literally indestructible. You can't really hurt Dorothy while she's wearing them, and you can't take them off. And she never takes those slippers off. So, I mean, what do you have to concern yourself about foot odor? I mean, you wear shoes long enough, it's going to start to build up a little bit. Constantine is a way better choice than Hermione. Oh, I suppose you big kid, maybe Constantine. I did not feel that Constantine was a great team member in terms of working with other individuals. I felt that was problematic. He does not work well with others. Hence, did not go onto the list. F. Hubber, what do you got here? Chuck Norris got his start as Bruce Lee's punching bag. Actually, he didn't, as it happens, F. Hubber. Chuck Norris was making movies about the same time as Bruce Lee, and actually I think he was making them maybe before Bruce Lee. And remember, Chuck Norris survived and Bruce Lee did not. So that's not to say that I don't like Bruce Lee, but again, as I explained, the discussion with Chuck Norris was more about he did not like the idea of not being on the list. Not that I'm not saying that he isn't like a very powerful... I'm now afraid now. He's going to knock on my door. Okay. Scott, what do you got here? Conan books have read he's always had some semi-balance of a group. Yes, semblance of a group. Yes, semblance. Yes, but there's the thing. A semblance of a group, but not really a group. Yes, Indiana Jones would definitely ace those history checks, but I do feel like Hermione Granger was a good choice. But you can disagree. Remember, just my opinion. And all done in good fun rather than being too serious, because honestly, I don't want to be too serious today. I'm going to try to keep it light and fluffy, and light and fluffy is where I am. Okay, Sam Tom Miller. What about the dudes from Road to El Dorado? All about that gold. No, they're not going on the list. You don't need them. Not at all. We're leaving them off. Not a chance. Okay, big kid. Need Swamp Thing as a druid. Swamp Thing, yeah, but Swamp Thing was really a loner. He really was a loner. He was on his own most of the time. I mean, I don't really feel like he was the sort of individual that people wanted to hang out with, and I don't think he actually wanted to hang out with others anyway. Got a lot of emotional issues going on upstairs. Maybe that's because he's a plant. Maybe because he's just, a bit soft. Who knows? Anyway, Teletubbies with Barney as the party leader. Ultimate best party. Matt, you scare me. Matt. You scare me so much. Barney counts as a BBEG. That's right. Did you just get a knock on your door, Sam? Look, I do apologise if Chuck Norris shows up. It's Chuck Norris at your door, Fred. Jeez. No. I don't need him. Leave me alone. Okay. Ice King. RoboCop Paladin. RoboCop. I suppose RoboCop could have been there. Yet again, I feel like RoboCop is a loner. It doesn't work well necessarily with others. And yeah, he certainly brings the firepower. Certainly capable of decimating large groups of individuals. And, he took on some very, very tough machines. But I didn't really feel like he was the guy for a group of individuals. Because remember, it's team It's party team. Okay, all right. Like, I hope people enjoyed this and found this at least remotely entertaining. This time round, I did not go with please share, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell button if you so forth. And I didn't say anything about thumbs up or thumbs down, because every time I do one of these videos, there's always somebody who thinks I'm being serious and will put in a comment trying to explain to me that my selection was of a poor choice and it should have been somebody else. And to be honest, I make these videos because there are so many videos on the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party or the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons composition, and the absolute best blah 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 blah, because the word best comes up and then the absolute seems to get triggered by the YouTube brain, and then of course everybody's chasing the YouTube brain, which I'm doing right now in a clearly a self-serving manner, but also having a bit of fun with it because I can. Okay, so I'm going to take off. Oh, by the way, what video is coming? I'm doing another Lazy Dungeon Master video at about 1 p.m. So it'll be a live stream at 1 p.m. And that will be covering sort of strategies for being a Lazy Dungeon Master for somebody who's maybe new or just doesn't have enough time or just wants to make their life easier. And you know, I'm all about trying to make your life easier. Certainly I try to make my own life easier, so why not make everybody else's as well? So I will say it again. Have a good... Oh, hang on. I have to say, I'm going to put up this image. This is the image I will leave up. Because if I was smart and I was doing a video like this, I would have put this image up, right? Because I would have got more traffic. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So have a good night, day, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It's 1 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. Fred, 1 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time for the next live stream. Okay, so have a good day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Look after your family and your friends and yourself. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.